Education 2301. Here's your week 4 explanation. This is our last week. We'll be looking at special education, and we're going to dive into two more exceptionalities. One is learning disabilities, and the other is emotional and behavioral disorders. So when we go here, we've got the OER materials. You'll have a functional behavioral assessment. Your fact sheet is due, as well as your time log. So we go into content material. This is the learning disabilities, and ADHD is on this as well. And so ADHD is not a learning disability. They're just on the same page together. He does a really nice job of explaining how learning disabilities is an overarching umbrella for specific types like dyslexia, dyscalculia, auditory processing disorder. And so there's some videos on strategies. This is a brain research on dyslexia about how the brain is wired, how the brain fires, the different components of the brain. Some parts of the brain are smaller or larger than in someone who doesn't have dyslexia. It's very interesting. If you have Flash, you're welcome to do these. I have a Mac, and no matter how hard I try, I cannot get these to play. But they're simulations of what someone with dyslexia may see. And there's lots of types of dyslexia. Some people just automatically think it's people like number switch or letter switching. And it's not. Words clump together. Words have weird movements to them. There's lots of different varieties of dyslexia. ADHD, this is PBS, and they do a really nice job. It's a visual activity and an auditory activity that you get distracted by daydreaming and looking out the window. This one, there's a lot of noise going on in the classroom. And so trying to focus gives you a glimpse into someone who has ADHD. This is an explanation that we no longer have ADD, which is a term we had 20 years ago. But ADHD is the term. And so what used to be ADD is now ADD inattention. And then the other part I put in here is the sensory integration part, and two senses we don't often think about. When we went to elementary school, we learned that we can see, we can hear, we can smell, we can taste, we can touch, but we have two other senses. One is the proprioception, and one of the vestibular. Proprioception is where I am in space, and this one is movement. And so my daughter needs more stimulation here. She needs to twirl a little bit more. She needs to run a little bit faster. If you go back, I mention it and I discuss it in the last discussion board a little bit more about this. But sometimes we think kids have behavior problems when really they just have larger sensory buckets that they're trying to fill. And so that may be a solution, which we'll look at the functional behavior analysis later. Here's emotional behavioral disorders. This guy makes sense to me. Like, he talks about if you have a heart problem, we take pictures of your heart. If you have problems with your spine, we look at your spine. Why don't we look at people's brains when we talk about mental things that are going on? And he does a nice comparison of two brains that are experiencing depression-like symptoms. However, how you treat them is completely different. Anxiety is a huge, and especially with COVID, a lot of kids are dealing with depression and anxiety. How do we help them? How do we recognize them? Oppositional defiant disorder. Here's a video, and then I found this PNG file, and I hope you can see it about oppositional defiant disorder and how it looks with relationships, behavior, and anger. Then we go into the functional behavioral disorder or functional behavior assessment. What it is, the Iris Center does this, and what you'll do is walk through it. So you'll begin and you'll go through each page. At the end is the assessment, and this is what you're going to be turning in for the functional behavioral assessment. And so I want you to look at 2, 3, 5, and 6, and you'll type those up. Okay, when you do this one, I need to see each event as this happens, not just one summary at the end, because you're trying to look for patterns in behavior. So if you can identify when a behavior is happening, is there somebody who's always nearby? Does it happen to always happen before lunch? So the child may be hungry. Does it always happen during math time? So what is it about math? Like, those are the different things that you're trying to figure out. People are like, this child has challenging behaviors. Well, why? I can't give you one answer of how to solve that problem. You got to figure out why the behavior is happening. All behavior is communication, especially misbehavior. And you just have to figure out what they're trying to tell you. And that's how you come up with how to help them. Here's a special education time log and journal. Because it's half the hours you'll be watching, it's half the point. It's twice as many points as the other one. So hopefully you've been watching these videos, and what you'll go in with it is you'll click on the link, you'll watch the video, and you'll give me a 3 to 5 sentence summary about that. So this one's about an art meeting. So some of them about gifted and talented. I tried to pick ones more on the topics. And on this one it says autistic students, but we know with legislation there's a people first where they are a person with autism. They are not just autism. There's lots of components of who that person is. The last one is going to be your fact sheet that you signed up for 2 weeks ago. So what you're going to do is you're going to come up with a one-page fact sheet. If you just Google fact sheets, if I come over here and I say ADHD fact sheets, and I can go to images, I have lots of fact sheets. So you can see what a fact sheet looks like. There's lots of different components to it. So on your fact sheet, you're going to be talking about, and you can look, causes, characteristics, how does it show up? And a lot of times we think, oh, that child has blank. So frustrating. But the whole thing is there's always something positive about a child. And that's what I really want you to focus on with benefits. Like, they may help you see your room in a different way. They may help you come up with strategies to help all kids calm down, something along those lines. 5 strategies to work with that population in the classroom. And then there's a video. And the video is 5 minutes. You'll create a PowerPoint. You can do it on Zoom. You can do it on Screencast-O-Matic. But the whole thing is don't pull up your fact sheet and read it, because that won't get you any points. So add a story to it of someone you know, or something interesting else that you found that you couldn't fit into your fact sheet. So this is your chance to teach. We're doing a whole lot of online teaching right now, and so think about it from that perspective. And that's going to, and you'll come over here to discussions, and you will, this is my guest student, fact sheets and videos. And you'll post it here. And then go in and watch your classmates, because I am, the other thing I need to let you know is, and I'm going to come up here to the syllabus, there is a special education midterm. And so I'm going to, after this week, release it, and it will be due here in week 5. So you'll have a little bit more time in order to get that done. But it will be coming, and you'll see it in the next couple days. I just want to give you a heads up. So that is your week 4 explanation, and I look forward to seeing all your fact sheets.